Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God.
Hey,
Welcome, welcome,
hey.
welcome. It is the 3rd of June, 2026,
Yeah,
and
man.
7 o'clock. If you believe in the concept of time and live in Omaha, Nebraska, it's going to be a bright, sunny day today. It's going to be a nice one. So we are glad you're here early and starting it with us. I really appreciate everyone getting up early with us. Do us a favor, share the show on your page, Facebook, share the link, YouTube. Let's get as many people in today as possible and stick with us the whole 2 hours on this Wednesday the 3rd. Appreciate everybody coming on in. Buddy, how you feeling this morning?
Man, feeling good, feeling great. How are you? Definitely looking forward to today's guest, to today's conversation, continuing from Monday. And yeah, man, failed to mention that Monday marked the 105th anniversary remembrance of Black Wall Street, and we still following the money. So yeah, we're gonna get into the history, the past, the present, the future, all of that, and of course, Pillin still illin'. So yeah, we got a couple things to get into. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it then. Time
Let's
to
start the show.
First Sky Omaha in the morning. Money. Once again, just want to thank you guys for getting up early with us this morning on this Wednesday, the 3rd of June, 2026. Time is flying by, man. We're already mid-year.
Man.
Mid-year in 2026. You can believe that. Craziness. Still for real. Still around the first of the month. So, we're just firing June up. Let us know about your plans. There's lots of things happening this month. Of course, we got to talk about Juneteenth. Celebrations happening, all kinds of other events. We're right in the middle of Juneteenth celebration right now. Flag raising the other day, so there's a whole 2-week period of events that goes down. So we'll try to dig into some of that, and yeah, just keep on having these conversations, talking about what's going on in our neighborhoods, especially the living alive with one another part. Really, really all about nothing really matters unless we're doing that. So we're here to do that. We're here to fire up that conversation, set that intention, get busy, and yeah, do it with you. Appreciate you getting up. Pops up in the morning, man. It's like old school. Pops first on the list today. Saying good Wednesday morning, mad love from Las Vegas. Also, Judy Princess says, workout done. Wonderful Wednesday. Man, you get up early for that workout. That's what's up. Right on, right on. Good morning to you. Marlon Harrison says, good morning, First Sky family, and happy Wellness Wednesday.
Hey.
Yep.
Okay.
Keep it on our mind. Keep it on our mind. Stay
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Health
What are
as
you
well.
doing these days, buddy, to stay well yourself?
Man, well, yeah. I'm developing a morning routine. Sometimes, some days are better than others, but stretching. You've been hearing me talking about that. Definitely stretching daily. And then I try to at least get in about 50 to 100 push-ups a day. Just keep keeping it active. Not quite making it to the gym, but hey, calisthenics, man, trying to stay on top of that as well. So
Okay.
yeah, try to stay active, try to stay moving. And try to watch what I eat. Sometimes I definitely struggle with that one, but yeah. Those are my wellness kind of checklist things. Also meditating. I meditate about 10 minutes a day. Just get it in while I can. And 10 minutes might not sound like a long time, but it does wonders. Kind of resetting the day, resetting the energy of the day, and things like that. So, what about you, man?
Yeah, I watch what I eat too. I watch when I scoop it up, put it down. I watch it the whole way, baby. It's going down. I watch what I'm eating next. All
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Might watch
Yeah,
what you
man.
eat.
I definitely need to do better in the wellness area. I've been really trying to tackle sleep a lot lately,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
making sure that I get enough of that is first and foremost. And yeah, there's other things got to tackle. Get back to the gym, all that
Man.
stuff, man. We're worrying about it, but I think I've been taking a lot of time just for mental clarity, mental health. It is men's mental health month too, isn't it?
I believe so.
I believe so. Yeah. So I'm hearing it all over the place. Shout out to the fellas over at Beyond the Stigma, Johnny No
Man.
Good. And as a matter of fact, we're gonna have Johnny No Good on Friday to talk about that stuff too. I want to hear some of the advances and conversations and stuff that they're having over there. Also, shout out to Sky Ree, the artist who put together our shirt. Man, he put this Beyond the Stigma artwork together with
Mm.
the fellas. I thought was really cool. We were talking about having the first Fridays on the Deuce, and we were talking to Sky about coming down and doing a one man show at the visitor center. So that probably is coming up, but they decided not to do first Fridays at the Deuce on the Deuce this time around. But you'll be seeing a lot more of him. You know, if you remember, he was the one that designed our first Sky T, that first collab we did with him back in the day. That design there, so dope artist, and I really love that he's even though he's kind of like you, he's in other living in other places, but
Mhm.
really still connected to Omaha enough to be donating to work like this for the Beyond the Stigma dude. So that's what's up. He's also a proponent for men's mental health. He's always talking about it too. So there's a lot. I'm just thinking about that part for me is definitely a wellness part for me is being able to talk to other brothers about our mental health. So
Man,
shout out to the Johnny No Good and the guys that are really putting those kinds of meetings together. We'll be talking to him about that on Friday. But today we're going to be talking to Brother Dell Gines because there's another kind of health that we're trying to stay on top of, which is our wealth health and
man,
our ability to do business and collaborate in business, build an ecosystem in order for all of us to take care of each other.
man.
It'll be an interesting conversation. Don't know if you know who he is, but we'll definitely be introducing him to you if you don't. Shout out to Kimmer Snipes, who's been talking him up for a few years. Like, get him on the show. We're finally doing that. So that's what's up. But I see Michelle Moreno in the chat giving us a good morning, everyone. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah, we're kind of declaring this Wellness Wednesday, thanks to Marlon, and just trying to keep it on our heads. So let us know in the chat what do you do for your wellness on this Wednesday, and some of the things that you do. I definitely, like I said, I've been trying to sleep. Definitely been working on mental health a lot. Just paying attention to that cognitive load, how much is on my
Mhm.
brain, and a little meditation too, in order to get some of that stuff off the brain. Also journal, which gets it all
Mm,
off the brain too, get it on the page. So I do a
man.
lot of journaling, um, and just in trying to, and lately I've been noticing how much time I need to spend alone. I need to have some alone time.
Mm,
Just think my own thoughts, be in my own space. So that also helps my wellness as well. But it is the weather's good. It is time to kind of get outside a little bit more. So have been trying to get out and walk a little bit more too, and just be around. So we are talking about earlier before the show. There's a lot to do in Omaha. There's always a lot.
man, man, there's actually too much going on. It's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, man, that stigma of like there ain't nothing to do in Omaha is crazy because there is too much to do in Omaha. To be honest, there's a lot. So we're definitely gonna be talking about. As a matter of fact, we'll jump into a few of the community updates now of some of the
Hey,
things that are going on because there is a lot. Of course, we talked about Juneteenth, all that's going on right now too. Also, Joy Fest is coming up. There's so many things that's happening as far as Juneteenth is concerned. Of course, the concerts as well. Shout out to Freedom Tainment. Carrie Hilson, Live Jennings, Nivea is going to be on Saturday night, June 13th, the big concert. We'll have we're going to have Calvin Williams on next week to talk about this before this happens and give away some tickets. So get ready for that. And yeah, lots of good stuff happening there. The other night we went to the Film Streams event to see the Florida
man.
Project. Shout out to the Omaha Checkup. Shout out to Film Stream. Shout out to Paul Wiseapple. Shout out to Tamara Dwyer. People on the board on the panel. Shout out to them for putting this on. It was great. Oh, shout out to Hawaiian Brothers too, bro. They had Hawaiian
Hey,
Brothers out there. Listen, listen.
man.
Your boy was waiting for some Hawaiian food out here for real. So yeah, that was a great event. We got to shake some hands and talk to some folks and talk about some of the things that we're going to talk about on the show. As a matter of fact, so shout out to everybody who showed up to the Florida Project Film, supported the Omaha Checkup at Film Streams. That's what's up. Yeah, it gets down. This is one I'm looking forward to. Prince's birthday celebration is going to be a celebrating Prince that's happening over on at Odo Hi-Fi Lounge on Sunday the 6th, or I'm sorry, June the 7th, which is actually Prince's birthday. 5 to 10. Yeah, you definitely catch us over there getting down at Odo, which is right
Man,
there in Exarban Village. So yeah, shout out to the fellas over there that's putting that together, most definitely. And speaking of live music, they finally put out a lineup for the next music at Miller Park. We were talking about Miller Park a lot lately and the things that are going on over there. This is going to be cool. It starts June 6th, and I think they have concerts June 6th, July 11th, and August 8th. And as you can see, Angeline Timus will be back, which is always a dope show. Always, always. I'm not sure who this group is up here. I'm going to have to look them up on the top left.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of horns in that group. I'm like, who else is
Yeah.
blowing some horns around here? So
Some brothers.
when I see horns, I'm like, that's my section.
Hey.
Get it going. And also Chad Stoner, who just did his last residency over there at Noma last Wednesday night, was his last show there. So I've been seeing him out and about a lot too. So Chad Stoner is going to be performing at Miller Park. Music at Miller Park always gets down. It's going to be interesting this year because of the situation with Logier teaming up with the city to make some improvements in the park. So it should be fun, should be safe, should be a good situation to go to. I know that the neighborhood associations around there are very excited about music in Miller Park. Always a good time. So yeah, get ready for that. I know a lot of folks that listen to us go to that. So definitely check it out. Also, First Friday is coming up. So of course, BFF is going off in Benson. The Benson Creative District is hosting this, and it's always a wild time when it's good weather. They're celebrating Pride. This is also Pride Month in June as well. So First Friday is happening June 5th, and definitely go out and see some art, see some shows. Shout out to BFF. Shout out to everybody in the Benson area right now that's doing some stuff. The Bay is doing some really great stuff too. We'll have to update you on some of the things they're doing with the kids there, and also BFF. Also the Benson Creative District just in general is doing some wild stuff. Good models for what we're trying to do on the Deuce and other places. So definitely pay attention and definitely indulge. Like we say, Benson is the North Side.
There you go.
Yep. We got a few more things coming up. Tickets for Noma Fest is happening right now too. So that's coming up in August, but definitely get your tickets early and study what's going to happen here, where some of these shows are going to be happening, Riverfront and all kinds of other places. Definitely check this out. These are some heavy hitters coming to town, and I really want to support this. So he keeps on bringing some of these heavy hitters back. It's going down. So there's a lot happening right now. We'll save some more haps for a little bit later on. And of course, we'll do more extensive haps on Friday. So we can start really kind of talking to each other about what we're doing over the weekend. Yep. In the meantime, let's go ahead and hand it over to Buddy to talk about what today's thread is going to be. It's a doozy. Can't wait to hear about it. What's going on, Buddy?
Yeah, man, we're all over the place, traveling through time, if you will, looking at the past, looking at the present, and hopefully imagining a better future. And we'll start with looking at the past. Actually, on Monday, of course, as Paul just mentioned, we made it over to film streams to look at the Florida Project, which is again a captivating film about homelessness, houselessness, and but not just that, about community, about economic development and some of the hardships that a lot of us may have experienced at some points in our lives. And I want to start with that and open it up to a bigger conversation about, really what we have been talking about this season, ecosystems, building up systems that work for us in economic development, but also talking about it in the light of what just happened on Monday, as far as, again, the 105th anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre, and again, looking at not just Black Wall Street, but all of again, I preparing for this show, did some research and found out that just in Oklahoma alone, there were more than 50 all Black communities and towns that again were developed to shield and protect those citizens and residents from Jim Crow, which again we've been seeing the growth of that. And we can get into a little bit of that as far as what Trump Jr. has going on, because Pillin is still illin', man. So we'll definitely be getting into all that here in the next couple of hours. Not only what Pillin has going on, but also looking at what Mary Ewing has going on. Again, getting the youth involved with some things, and then also some positive things happening on the Deuce, man. So again, we're going to be talking about it all throughout today's show. As always, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. Chat chimers, ghost listeners, even the monitoring spirits, man. We welcome you. Join the conversation. Let your mind be free. And in the meantime, between time, get ready for our guest. Also, Brother Dell Gines coming up, which also, this is going to be a dynamic conversation. That brother has some ideas about economic development. Actually, he's well equipped to have the conversation, brother, to bring some credentials. So we're going to be talking about all that and more. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Say you.
Man, let's go ahead and take a quick break. I see RG in the chat giving us a morning, y'all. Appreciate you coming on in. Do us a favor, share the show. If you're on Facebook, especially, share the show on your page. It's pretty easy to do. Also, if you're on YouTube, share the link. Let's get as many people in the conversation as we can, and let us know what's going on too. We usually wait till Friday to ask, what are you doing this weekend, so on. But if there's things going on before then, let us know. We know we got Vincent First Friday coming up, and if you're planning on going out to that, love to hear that. If you've seen any good movies lately, we want to hear about it. See any good music out there? Have you seen any good concerts? No, I keep up with Mark Manor in the on Facebook and on Instagram. He's always talking about the shows and stuff he goes to as well. So love to hear about some live music that you went to go see, in town, out of town, doesn't matter. Just let us know what's going on in your world as well. Definitely want to hear about that. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back and enjoy and start the show with a couple dives into some articles. Some of the stuff that Pillin said just really kind of like,
man,
just unnecessary. We'll get into it. A lot of conversation on Friends of over this one. We'll get into it. Stay tuned. You'll be right back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'm Paul B's buddy to God. Stay tuned. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, buddy to God. How you guys doing? Ariel's 402 in the chat. What's up, man? Midwest Taco and Tequila Fest Saturday. Say what? How did
I told you, bro. It's so much going on. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, but I usually keep up with the tacos, though, bro. How am I missing a whole taco fest? Falconwood Park in Plattsmouth. I'll be selling some embroidery. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
get that game going. That's what's up.
Yeah, brother.
Mayor Sanchez, man. We're also trying to do this third grade reading program situation that we need to chime up on this summer. Summer would be a good time for us to do this. Matter of fact, Mayor Sanchez, let's talk, because I was thinking about maybe tapping Assembly of the Saints, Pastor Ballard, while he has this summer camp going on. We'll see if we can collab with that. And I can't wait to see your embroidery, man. Venturing into doing some things. I can't wait to check it out. I'm definitely gonna have to get. I mean, any place that says Taco and Tequila Fest, I mean, it's gonna be hard for me not to go. I'm just gonna be honest.
Might as well be called the Paul B Fest.
Might as well. Grandma, I can't help you today. I got something to do. I'm sorry, I got something to do. So that's what's. This is gonna be that serious. No, I'm just playing. Can't diss grandma. Yeah, I'll bring her. That's what I do. Just bring one.
There you go.
Let's go ahead and get into it, man. 7:18 right now. If you believe in the concept of time and you live in Omaha, Nebraska, that is the agreed upon time right now. So if you believe that, then cool. We'll go ahead and get it going. Let's go first on the list.
Man, well, actually, let's start right there, man. Speaking of grandma, let's talk about our ecosystems, our communities, the hookup, man, because sometimes that's all we have is our folks, you know what I mean, to make it through systems. And that was definitely one of my takeaways from Monday's evening film. Shout out to our partners at Film Streams. Of course, we had Amanda Kephart on the show on Friday to talk about the project. But again, we were able to make it down and see the film and join the conversations ourselves. So again, shout out to the good folks at UNMC, Film Streams, Paul Wiseapple, Tamara Dwyer, everybody that was a part of that whole situation, man. If you haven't seen it, the Florida Project, dope film. Almost a tearjerker, if you definitely on that. But it was interesting to me. If you don't know, the film is about young folk dealing with homelessness and living in a motel and some of the things that they go through and the hardships and the realities really of houselessness and having dealt with houselessness at different points in my life, both as a child and as an adult. and needing resources and having children in those. And it was, man, it was a huge takeaway. And one of the big things for me is community, which is again today's bigger conversation: communities, ecosystems. Without giving away too much in the film, as you see the characters struggle through their situation, one of the things that really seemed to work for them were relying on the people around them, whether it's watching your children while you have to go to work, or sneaking food and things like that for each other, to eat, and just all the things that people have to do in situations, especially when they're faced with poverty, to get by. And we always talk about the hookup culture and the things that we need to make things happen in our lives. And let's just be real. That's just the reality that a lot of us have to deal with. But it doesn't have to be like that. Again, it almost does have to be like that as far as community economics and building the community up. And what I wanted to get into is, what would that look like if it was less of a thing done out of necessity, out of survival, and more of an intentional thing? And if we built upon it, and not just necessarily individuals, but rather than, the homegirl just being the homegirl to watch the kids while you're at work, let's start a daycare center. Let's start, businesses, enterprises, things that we can do to build each other up, to develop our community economically. And again, that's where my mind is. Paul, I know you saw the film. I don't know if you have any thoughts that you want to share. If you want to get into the conversation, what say
Yeah.
you?
Most def. That really stood out to me too. It was this film was a film from the kids' perspective. They even shot it low, where from how a kid would look up at things, and the story was definitely following them, how they saw things through their eyes. Which it was a tearjerker, like Buddy said, sad because we know that the circumstances that surround what they're in. But it was also a reminder that kids are pretty resilient, and they're out here looking around, having fun, playing games, doing things, not really so concerned with the living conditions that they're in. They just kind of work with them and still go on about their business, but they still know what's really happening and what the threat is all the time for them living in situations like that. And I even when they go run around and do stuff they ain't got no business doing, they knew that they were in trouble. They knew that they were doing stuff they had no business doing and shouldn't be. So it's interesting, that kind of that viewpoint from the kids situation. But the other thing that really stood out is what you're talking about: this ecosystem of friends, hookups, the manager of the hotel being a guardian. So many ways that we all hook up and take care of each other. And it just made me realize about like how much we've all been in that situation. We've all not been able to afford childcare, and had to have grandma watch the kids, or or a friend watch the kids, or even a friend watch the kids for the night while you went out and just had some release, had a little bit of fun, and so on and so forth. And that's just the kids part. It's also the hookup for food. It's also in our culture especially, we've done a lot of taking care of each other when it came to all those things out of necessity. And some of those things built businesses and built ecosystems of businesses, but for the most part, our survival really kind of depended on taking care of each other in that way. And as soon as that doesn't happen, you're in a little bit of trouble, in a lot of trouble, actually. That living alive with one another takes on a different meaning when you're talking about survival as well, not just keeping up with each other on a spiritual level, but also just a physical level, survival, checking in on elderly friends and loved ones, driving people to the doctor, all kinds of things that's happened. I know family members that's been like, we went to our doctor and said that we needed to get some certain medication or antibiotic or something like that. We went to Mexico, got antibiotic, and now we got something for you if you can't afford it. There's just so many things in life that is that part, is that hookup, where you stay, where you crashing at, whose car you driving today. And it's just interesting to me for a film to really show that and remind us that we all have that. So it made me think about like the ecosystem that we have here. We are on this show 3 times a week. We have chat chimers, ghost listeners. We're talking to people all the time. And that's a question I never really put out there. Like, name one thing in your ecosystem that it feels like a hookup, that is a hookup for you, in order for you to get over, to make it, or to make it through the month as far as bills are concerned, whatever the deal. You on your parents' line still. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like we go in and out of all those types of things. Family playing on the phones, even though we don't live around each other. Sharing Hulu or whatever because we everybody can't afford the TV channels. So I mean, what are the things that's happening in your life that is ecosystem driven that we don't really speak on too much, but it is a hookup. It is a thing that helps you continue on what you got to do. We all have them, and I like this thinking of what if that was business.
Yeah.
How can we translate that to business? How can our business be in the ecosystem with another business and help each other hook up and thrive? I feel like that's what it is in the corporate world. They call their buddies up and give them government contracts and stuff like that all the time. It's always a hookup on a higher level. So, can we translate how it is that we have been surviving personally to how it is that an ecosystem of business can survive? That's what it during this follow the money season. That was what
Mhm.
was on my mind about that.
Man, definitely. Even as we see Sister Kimra Snipes checking in, saying good morning to you and everybody else checking in. As we're having this conversation, I'm thinking about something that she's been talking about as far as community based assets, and who in the community has the skills and what resources are in the community that we can build around and start to have that foundation and build that ecosystem. Which again, if you've been listening throughout this season. It's more, follow the money is more about ecosystems and how we put these things together and less about, the economies and the dollars and cents. How do we use these systems? So,
There you
yeah,
go.
that's again the gist of today's conversation. We'll be getting into it different angles. But that's where we are on that. Definitely let your mind be free in the chat.
Yep. I see Senator Katie giving us a good morning. All appreciate you coming in. RG said, if we go to Platt Smith for that taco and tequila fest, keep your head on a swivel. Hey, bro,
Okay.
we live in Nebraska. We gotta keep our head on a swivel everywhere, all the time, bro. All the time.
Man, that's only real. That's only real. It's only real. Which actually reminds me of the other thing that I want to talk about. If that's all right, we can pivot
Yeah.
a little bit, get into the Black Wall Street of it all, because as we talk about building ecosystems, talking about building our situations first, we're not starting from scratch, and this isn't a foreign idea. This is something that has been done masterfully, if I do say so myself. Again, I didn't really think about it when we were having the conversation we were having on Monday about economic development, about community. But again, Sunday and Monday marked the 105th anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre. And as I'm learning more about it and looking into it, I'm really thinking about these ecosystems, how first of all they were built, and how can we learn to protect them moving forward, which we'll be getting into throughout today's show. But for those who don't know about Black Wall Street, or even if you do know a little bit about Black Wall Street, definitely want to give a little more insight. Of course, Black Wall Street is a loose term that's applied to a specific area of Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood, Archer area. And again, it was a thriving community in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But it was again one of many, according to actually in the Encyclopedia of Oklahoma History and Culture from the Oklahoma Historical Society. There were actually about 50 different from 1865 to 1920. Again, 50 identifiable towns and settlements. Of course, some short-lived, but some are actually still existing and were still around at the beginning of the 21st century. And that's just in Oklahoma, mind you. Again, 50 different identifiable. I also don't want to gloss over that phrase as well. You kind of wonder how many different towns and villages and townships didn't identify themselves, didn't acknowledge that they were existing to try to stay protected from Jim Crow. Again, it just makes you think. But of course, we look at the Greenwood, Tulsa area as the poster child of these Black Wall Streets. And again, it came to its demise in 1921 after a riot from white, let's just call it what it is, residents in the area who were not happy of the prosperity that was going on in that area. And again, I do mean prosperity. Just for context, in 1907, the community started with one barber, one lawyer, 2 physicians or surgeons, no carpenters, contractors, builders, or painters. However, by 1920, the community grew to about 36 barbers, 8 lawyers, 19 physicians and surgeons just in this one area. Also, 48 listed house workers. And then again, according to the 1921 city directory, Greenwood contained about 191 businesses. So again, we're not just talking about, the hookup. We're talking about actual ecosystem businesses, people really coming together and building something of value, so much so that we're talking about it over a century later. And again, this is something that we can all learn from and replicate. It's something that has been done, can be done. And again, we're just talking about Oklahoma, not to mention I lived in Florida for several years and learning about cities like Redwood, learning about cities like Frenchtown and Tallahassee, Florida, which again, all of these were completely Black communities that spawned, on the heels of slavery and in the heart of Jim Crow, which, what's going on nowadays. So Paul, what say you? I know you're kind of familiar with Greenwood, but yeah, any input?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, of course, we hear about this all the time. We hear about Black Wall Street, and the destruction, the huge situation over there in Tulsa that happened, where they bombed the city, they killed a bunch of residents, burned down all the businesses. And this is in a time of segregation, which is also crazy to me because I grew up in a time where I grew up in a time of white flight, where everybody's trying to run away from where Black people are. And so to understand that before they had to run away, because all Black people were redlined into a certain area, in that area, they were thriving so tough with each other that it's almost like the white folks surrounding the spot got jealous of their prosperity and came to go tear it down, or for whatever reason they felt like they need to go do that. And it's not just Tulsa that's happened. It's happened a whole bunch of different places. Of course, even on the legislative level, where they've done stuff like level towns, take over towns. In the Central Park in New York City used to be a Black town that they leveled and put a park there. How many Lake Lanier? How many lakes have been? How many Black towns are at the bottom of lakes in America? This is a constant thing that happens, even when we are segregated away from the rest of society. Can't have a hard time building our own. But this is also, I'm thinking about history too. I'm also thinking about us always seeing this story about how they tore it down, and makes us these days feel like we don't have nothing, or we can't build nothing because they'll just tear it down. But that's not the entire truth either, because there's so many other towns and so many other things that's happened over the years that thrived all the way up to this day. That's where I go. I just saw a video the other day about a place called Mound Bayou, which was a Black-owned town. There's a matter of fact, there's a video about it. I'm gonna put the video link in the chat so you can check it out for yourself. But this was a Black-owned town that the title of the video is "The Town Where White People Were Illegal," and it started with an example of a white lawman that got off the train and basically was told you're not allowed here by the Black lawman of the town. And it was interesting to me about how that town doesn't exist anymore, but not because it got burned down by the rest of society. It did the same thing that Detroit and other towns do when the industry changes, when things change as far as economic situations are concerned, and some towns go under naturally in a capitalistic society, and that's how this one in particular kind of went away. There's still people there that's from the era, but there's a lot of towns like that. There's a lot of stories like that about how we get together and we thrive when we're together. And it lasts, and it doesn't always get bombed away. That's the kind of headline that bleeds it leads story when it comes to these kinds of stories. But there's a whole lot more stories about towns that thrived, and it makes me think about right here in Omaha, where things have thrived. Pops in the chat says, "Wow, realizations happen no matter how old you become." It just hit me that my grandparents, my parents, me, and my children, they've all housed multiple unhoused people. In my case, there were 3 families. We've all done the hookup situation, man. The hookup situation. My pop's dad, my grandfather, bought a tract of homes of 20 homes, and there was people that he had staying in the homes that couldn't necessarily afford being there, but was there. And he also ran an adult care facility on that tract of homes as well. So this is something that we have been doing for a while. because you got to remember we also work. We also put money together. We also have pooled money. We also learn how money works and do. And it may not be the majority of. It may not be what everybody does all the time, but there's been success. There's always successful Black folks everywhere in every town, and it's been going on for a long time. We learn the same systems. We save the same money, and money spends everywhere. So
Mhm.
we find a way. If it's the '60s and you can't buy a house, you go find your white friend to go buy it for you and then move in. We've always found a way and figured things out, and that's what I'm on now. I'm tired of the civil rights stories of when our towns got burned down all the time. I want to hear more stories about when things thrived. Right here in Omaha, 24th and Lake Street area, we talk about it all the time. It was a thriving area all the way up and down 24th Street, just like it is on the south side right now. And it was some situations that burned thing that stopped that from happening, but it didn't have to stop altogether. It stopped, and then disinvestment came in after that to not rebuild, and then that's why things stayed the way they stayed all these years. But even right now, we're in another renaissance when it comes to that, finding different ways and ecosystems to try to put things back together here. So that's kind of what that's what I'm on when I think of that. I was shocked the first time I ever heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and them burning down a black city during a time when it wasn't but black folks there. It wasn't like I said, I was born and raised in a time where white flight happened. They didn't want you in your neighborhoods. And here's the time when you weren't in their neighborhood. You was in your own neighborhood, and they still came to burn that down.
Man.
Crazy.
And I do want to compare it. Like Tulsa isn't too much bigger than Omaha. Like we're talking about a very similarly sized community that again did something great, and we also did something great. Shout out to Camera echoing what you're saying, Paul. Saying with that being said, we need to be mindful of this as we continue to develop historic North 24th Street, and
Right.
which again brings us up to this story because I do want to give a shout out to Brother Dominique Ron and what our partners over at Heart Ministry Centers is doing. And again, we all have a opportunity to be mindful, to be intentful, I guess is the word, intentional. There we go. About this new project coming up as far as a grocery store, and what this can be as far as a community asset as we can continue to build our community up. Again, Heart Ministry Center, if you don't know, is developing a grocery store in North Omaha. It will be located at near 25th and Lake Streets. It will be a nearly 25,000 square foot facility, a full grocery store, not just a market, not just a bodega, a full grocery store in the area that needs it. Again, the organization is hosting 2 meetings to inform residents about the mission and gather feedback from the community. The first meeting will be held June 17th at 6 p.m. at the venue at Highlander. Again, that's 30th and Patrick Street, where the project used to be, right there by Salem. Again, the first meeting, June 17th, 6 p.m. at the venue at the Highlander. And again, shout out to Dominique Ron. We've had several meetings with both Dom and just the whole team over there, Amy. They get down, man. They get down. And again, this is your opportunity to have your voices heard. So yeah, I don't want you missing out on that and then complaining. Like, let's speak up, let's show up, let's show out. Again, let's be intentional as we develop our community.
Yep, I'm gonna put the link in the chat for you guys to go check this out, so you can RSVP and make sure you get to this June 17th, 6 to 8. At least go to hear more about it if you don't have any input. I definitely am hitting these spots, listening more than I'm trying to talk these days, because I get to these meetings and sometimes I'm hearing a lot of people that are just spewing their feelings about a thing without really even diving into the facts of the situation. I kind of want to go and learn and hear the facts myself, and just understand what's going on and why. And keep in mind, all growth isn't bad growth. Some growth is good growth in the neighborhoods and things that are happening. So the people that are behind this, of course, we are in the follow the money season. So when we do have Dom on, because we are scheduled to have him on here soon too. I definitely want to know, what money did they raise to get this thing going? Who else is wants to be behind the development of North Omaha, especially in that area too. So definitely something. There's a lot of questions I have for it, but I also can see opportunity where there's going to be, taking care of the food desert. Number one, number two, jobs in the area. and just just a lot more development there as it grows and thrives. So shout out to them. I can't wait to really talk to them about this at this the community vision meeting, and also what our talk with Dom when we have him on the show. Very, very cool organization, man. They got a lot going on. The flower shop, the laundry, the clinic, the dentist clinic, the eye clinic, everything that they got going on over there to try to do the best they can to help folks in that way. It's part of the ecosystem when you really think about it. It's part of the ecosystem over there.
Yeah, man.
What they got going on.
Big time. So again, big shout out to them getting down, and shout out to you if you plan on making it. Again, it's going down June 17th at 6 p.m. Check it out.
There you go. I'm gonna jump into the chat real quick before we get to our guest. A shout out to Kimmer Snipes that says asset based community development. She loves. We talked about some of that a little bit. I love that. Also, she says, as someone who used to do programming out of Platt Smith Middle School, 1000% agree with you, Archie. Okay, guess we keep your head on a swivel in Platt Smith is what I'm hearing. Okay. I might need to go investigate, write a little story about that, and we'll pick up some tacos and tequila on the way. So we'll see what's happening there. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Appreciate you. Marlon Harrison in the chat says, one of the ecosystems that I miss is when my grandparents watch me, my siblings, and cousins, whether it's after school or during the summer, they keep us fed and safe.
Yeah, man.
I love that.
Yeah, man.
I love that. Yep. Kimmer says, thank you for elevating this. Well, thank you for everything you do for us, for real. Pop says, sorry for families. I remember now. He says, we never put a name on it. We just did it naturally because that's how our family has always done it. Just talking about the ecosystem with families, bringing in folks that need it. Yeah, I remember that too. I was just talking to Mom the other day about our family friend Clinton and them that moved in for a while. I forgot that we've had family friends that's moved in to our little small spaces for little periods of time. It's
kind of crazy
to stay, right?
It's kind of crazy going back to the Florida project situation. Like you're kids, so you're kind of it's just normal. You know what I mean? Like that's what else do you know? But now talking about it, it really is amazing how, as a community, like again, this rugged individualism is such a lie, bro. Like it doesn't work for anybody. And if you really look at how we survive, nobody does it alone. Nobody pulls up their own bootstraps. Like it's all community based. Like we've had points in my life where we had to live with, family friends, and vice versa. We've had points where we've been up and had space to where, cousins and family friends and have lived with us. I mean, even while I'm in Atlanta, I've had a couple people live with me, to help out in their situations, and now they moved on to different things. So, and man, to be honest, I'm talking to a cousin about moving back to Atlanta with me. Like that's just how we do. That is just who we are right now. And I just wonder if we were more intentional about it.
Well, and I like this idea of recognizing it. Like Pops in the chat, he's like, he's having a revelation, a realization right now about it. We're recognizing this, just thinking about it, putting it on my mind big time from that Florida Project movie about how we survive because of friends, family, hookups, agreements, shaking hands, agreements, verbal agreements. How long? Oh yeah, you can stay for a little bit. How long you gonna stay? Or I need this money right here for this gas or whatever the deal is. It's always the deal. It's how many times you let somebody borrow your car, so on and so forth. But the culture of that can be translated to business, and this is the follow the money season, and this is what I'm getting at with that. If we can recognize that that's how we've been surviving, can we apply some of that stuff to the ecosystem of business? When we start our business, can we hook each other up with business? Can we connect in the same way we have learned how to connect to survive? It's a big question for me. It's something that I'm on the verge. It's like I'm could be some of the things that I'm reading too. Could be some of the things I'm reading. I'm just saying. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a quick break and bring our special guest in. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the Guy. We'll be right back, y'all. Stay tuned. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back for Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God, and we got Brother Dell
Hey.
Gines in the chat. Good morning.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yeah, we can
sir.
hear you.
Yes, sir.
Good, good.
How you
So
doing?
good.
Welcome.
How you feeling this morning, man?
Doing good. I just been gone for pretty much a week and 3 days. Got back from Denver last night for a project that we're working on rural economic development. So
Okay.
feels good to be back home.
Yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us fresh off of a flight, from Denver. So I appreciate you. I know you're tired. I know I'm tired. So again, thank you. Thank you for joining us. But we've been looking forward to this conversation for a while. Sister Kimra Snipes is in the chat, and she's been bigging your name up, been telling us we need to link with you, need to talk with you. So glad that, we're able to finally link up. Just really quickly, for those who might not be familiar with you, I know you're a fellow Viking, Omaha native, but can you, give yourself a little introduction for the people who aren't
Yeah,
familiar?
yeah, sure. So yeah, good point. I don't know why I'm not a Viking of a distinction yet.
Me and
Oh,
you both. Me and you both,
I don't
brother.
know why I'm
thank
not
you.
on the wall of the North Omaha Visitor Center, but I think it speaks as much to kind of, and I'm just joking. I don't care about any of that. Trust me. But so yeah, I'm Dell Gines. Most people, know me. I had a pretty big gap where I was doing progressively fewer and fewer things in Omaha, even though I've always lived here because once I started at the Federal Reserve, I worked. But if you want a quick rundown of my history, so born and raised in Omaha, North Omaha specifically, off 40th names. Went to all the schools locally. Ended up going to North and graduated from Omaha North back in 1991. So we were the ones that actually started the whole V up thing. So
Hey.
anybody that we were the ones that started that. Our actually our age bracket, our 1991 cohort. Um,
Wow.
played basketball through there, academics, all of that. End up going to UNL, flunking out of UNL, coming back to Creighton because my dad worked there, so I can go for free. Left there because I couldn't stand the students at the time. I wasn't mature enough, coming from our community to deal with that type of student at the time.
Mhm.
And then I ended up graduating from a college, really small college that unfortunately no longer exists, called
Mhm.
Grace University, right up off 10th and Williams downtown.
Mhm.
And basketball actually is what got me through that whole thing, being able to play basketball. Because when I came out of high school, I was one of the top 10 Black academics in the nation.
Mm.
And, it just, I just needed to be able to get through. So it got me through, ended up with a degree in business management and Bible. Most people don't know that. The first degree that I pursued there, because I went from engineering at UNL to speech and communications at Creighton to being a pastoral major at Grace, switching that because I didn't want to learn take the third class in Greek because I didn't care about learning Greek like that. And then because I was married and started having a kid, I ended up going through their accelerator program where they only had two classes, which was business management and Bible. And this is important for the conversation that I know we're going to get into. Like and I've told this story historically. When I was going through North, I was never told I could own anything.
Mm.
I was never told about how to own a house. I was never
Mm.
told about a credit score. I was never taught about entrepreneurship or owning a business. All right, Tisa, I give you that, but I don't agree with you. I'm looking at the chat. Uh, well, we made it popular. Let's just put it like that to be up.
Tisa said
So
81. Tisa said
right.
81, by the way.
So we and it wasn't just me. And so I was a smart Black kid, like I said, top 10% in the nation. And it was like, oh, you're a smart Black kid, math and science. Let's do engineering. So I go to engineering. I step on class at UNL, and among other things, I went in. I'm like, this is not me. So I ended up
Mm.
spending obviously the transition period. Ended up, drinking and playing basketball and forgetting about classes. I got to have a .2 GPA. .2 GPA.
Mm.
The only reason I got the .2 is because they gave me a B in a mythology class I never went to. So I don't know how.
Mm.
So end up taking the semester off, then going back, finishing up those classes, kicking over to Creighton and Grace, business management and counseling. And I was like, man, I like them both. Let's do business though. Found out that I really enjoyed it. Well, at the time, I was working at the Omaha World Herald. I went from doing one of the people that people called and cussed out because they didn't get their newspaper to a customer service rep for the advertising. And I had a buddy there who had left, and he said, "Dell, man, you gotta come over to U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is paying $35,000 a year, which was big. That was big money back then. This would have been like probably 97-ish, 98 maybe. And that was big money back then, right? And so, I'm like, I don't know anything about banking, but if you're talking about paying that, I'm there. So I became what is known as a universal banker, which is that kind of that teller that also does sales when you go into like a grocery store. So I spent the first 6 months in South Omaha, 24th and Vine, in that baker's, and then I flipped over, and then I spent the rest of that part of my career at U.S. Bank at the 52nd and Ames Bakers before it was a Walmart. So that's where I really started seeing everything, because I was doing community work since I was 19. I had a TV show called There Is Hope, There Is Help on what most of y'all won't remember before most people don't remember 22, but I was on channel 21, Cox, with my show back like 20, talking crazy from the jump. Like the very first episode, I pretty much said, I'm gonna fix everybody's problem everywhere, and I still got it. Actually, I'm looking at the videotape right now. I just haven't been able to convert them over to digital because people get a kick out of that. Did it right from my blue couch. My house we had moved to 43rd and Decatur at this point. So, right around the corner from where I grew up, about a mile or two away. So, then I started looking at the two in sequence, right? Like my community work with what I was seeing with people's financial situations. So I went from the in-store bank at 52nd and Ames to be a personal banker at Commercial Federal Bank, which is now the Scooters on 30th Street. To then I had a choice. I could go into Commercial Federal Bank's Bank of the West management program, or I could go be a small business banker back at U.S. Bank. And of course, at the time, I was like, well, who's going to pay more money? So it was U.S. Bank. So I go back to U.S. Bank and become a small business banker at the branch off 30th and Weber. So right up there in that Florence area. So you see, my whole banking career has been except for that part in South Omaha, has been in North Omaha. And then that's where the dots started really connecting. It's like I'm seeing people's, I was credit trained. I was all of that. I'm seeing people's financials. I'm seeing the bankers. And then I eventually ended up finishing my formal banking career at 52nd and Ames Wells Fargo as a business banker. And so, I saw the whole gamut. Like I saw, predominantly at the time, Black people's financial situation up front every single day, and I was like, and that's where kind of like my community commitment met my economic knowledge, which began to spawn the other things. Go to 24th and leave Wells Fargo because banking is it's just the enemy of our people. But we
had to come back to that statement.
Yeah.
So I go from banking to running the Omaha Small Business Network on 24th Lake, which is now flat. Carmen Tapio is building out her deal there. And so basically I had, control of their microloan, and we had like that whole property in the block and a half property. Get fired from there after 4 months, which was a whole experience in and of itself. That's a whole story for another day. But while I was there, I fixed all of their problems because I've been telling you, I can fix all the problems of the world. You give me enough time and money. What is it they say about Batman? He just needs enough time to prepare. So, when I walked in, I was like the 5th executive director in 4 years. We had a lawsuit against us. They didn't tell me before they hired me. I had to shut off notice for the lights. This is a whole block of property, right, bro? Like the lights, the gas, the insurance, all noticed. By the time I left, and 4 months later, all of that stuff was gone. I had an unprecedented commitment from Wells Fargo to give me $3 million in B credit loan money to lend to the community at my discretion. And they didn't care. They fired me anyway. And so,
Wow.
I bounced around. It was two Black women that really, helped me out during that period of time, Black businesses. So people I still have love for: Dr. Marguerite Washington from the Omaha Star, rest in peace, and Judy Pearl Lee, who's right across the street from the Omaha Star, second generation Frontier bag owner, who hired me to pay me $35,000 a year to go through that period of time to be the worst salesman in the history of the world. I made one sale the whole year. And then Amanda Jetlick, Amanda Brewer now, she called me from Habitat. She said, will you come over and run our program, be our program manager? And so I was like, yeah. And that was really helpful because, long story short, a lot of that middle class Black leadership was running my name through the mud. And then the people from OSBN who were on the board were lying about me across a variety of dimensions. So I'd be going to these job interviews and wondering why I have such a great job interview, and then get a notification that there were better candidates the very next day, even after they told me they'd bring me back. Right. So I go through that period where I was essentially blackballed, like, just because of the lies that they were spreading. And obviously, being who I was, which is always relatively uncompromising, I was very direct. I didn't really fit the mold. Like, there's an article in the paper that I still have from like 2006, I think, that talked about the next generation of Black leaders in Omaha. And it was Tanya Cook, Chris Rogers, and me. And I've been saying the same stuff, even before that. And so that's where really, I had to get back on, at that point. So then it was Habitat for Humanity to running the Area Health Education Center, which was a federally funded healthcare workforce program, which was designed to get more people of color into healthcare. And then the opportunity at the Fed came up in their community development department. And when I looked at that, it had everything that I had done. So by that point, they were looking for folks with backgrounds in housing and workforce and small business and all of that. So I ended up taking over that position, which was the position wasn't brand new, but the structure was brand new because we never had a small business and economic development department. And for those who don't know what the Federal Reserve is, the Federal Reserve is the most powerful monetary policy institution in the world. And so, they set monetary policy, but what they don't know is that they have like functions underneath. And every Federal Reserve Bank is mandated by Congress coming out of the 1973 Community Reinvestment Act to have a community development department. So my boss said, she said, when I came in, she said, well, we restructured. This is our first time having a small business department. What do you want to do? You tell me what you want to do, and we'll do it. And I said, well, if we focus on the intersection between small business and economic development, we'll be thought leaders in 5 years. And in 5 years, we were thought leaders. I mean, at that point, I had written a guide. I've been speaking a lot, especially in rural communities because they're early adopters. I held the first entrepreneurship ecosystem building conference ever in Kearney, Nebraska. And then I hosted the first at the KC Fed. I hosted the first national entrepreneurship ecosystem building conference. And by the time we did that in like 2016, I think, I had already written like 3 guides or whatever. A lot of speaking. Like at this point, I've spoken over 45 states, 90 cities, 3 countries on some aspect of equitable development or ecosystem building. And now it's artificial intelligence. I ended up doing my dissertation on it. So that's what I got my PhD in. I did a dissertation on ecosystem building. And then I have 2 books out on that subject now. And so it was just, building through all of that, just trying to show communities, because when I came into it, I'm like, I need to build something that fixes the challenges I see in my community. Unfortunately, my community wasn't ready for that at the time. And it was tough for me, especially going through what I went through at OSBN, looking at where the energy was. People would do like all of this economic development stuff and never call me, even after I got certified as an economic developer and was a national thought leader, on the topic. But what I realized as I was doing all the travels is that there's Black people everywhere. And I'm artificially constraining myself to Omaha because it's the hometown, but then I'm running my head against the wall every time, when I want to mobilize and move things forward or have a say in something, it's like people wanted to go their own way at the time. And so I had to, let go and let God. And I'm like, and this is the thing. This is the thing about this city. Like, if you're good or great in the city, you are awesome everywhere else. Because even the data shows how it suppresses Black talent, especially Black corporate or executive level or leadership talent. Like, the data is there. This Chamber of Commerce did a study that repeatedly showed that. Exit interviews repeatedly showed that Black talent, is not served well in this city. At least historically, it hasn't been. We can talk about where I think we can go later. And so I was one of those victims. I mean, I'm one of, this passionate guy that wants to see his community change, impact everywhere I went. I did amazing things. Then when I got to the national stage opportunity, I literally blew up. Like, I'm going to New York, Florida, California, and I'm just almost cuss. I'm that guy everywhere I go, and it opened my eyes, because this city has a way of kind of messing with your cognitive functioning about yourself.
Man.
You doubt yourself, right? And then as soon as I get out, people are like, "Who is this guy, and where did he come from?" And I literally, like, when I say it was rural, that is no joke. Like the first 5 years, probably 75% of every place I was at or talking about was rural communities. So I would go to small rural communities where I would be the only Black person in a 6-county radius, speaking in elementary school gymnasiums, Rotary clubs, like all of those things. And they kept asking me back over and over again. And I walked in, I'd be like, "Yo, I'm from North Omaha. I'm a Black guy. I'm from North Omaha. My whole mindset is wired around that. And this is what I saw there. And this is what I see here. And this is how we need to solve both of these problems."
Let me jump in here real quick. So because I don't want to get too far into when you hit nationally, I want to go back a little bit to that time period where you were writing the books, doing the talk, developing the ecosystem playbooks, and these ideas, and you were doing it with the hometown situation, and not really getting anywhere with it, but you were building it here. So I always think of Omaha as what we call, the musicians call, the shed, the place where we can go out into the shed, learn your instrument, really get good at your instrument. Some of the most talented guys that I ever played with have been in Omaha, even though they are not on a national. They play better than some of these national dudes out here. So it's resonating with me what you're talking about right now. You built your theory and your system in Omaha, with Omaha as the center, and then Omaha does what Omaha does to you a little bit, and then that made you tough enough, sharp enough to where now you realize when you go out somewhere else, you're head and shoulders above everybody else, because you went through that grinder out here. So I'm kind of understanding that real quick. I just want to let everybody know, just remind them, we're in the second hour now. It's 8:03. If you believe in the concept of time, we're here with Brother Dell Gines, and we've been wanting to talk to you for a while. Shout out to Kimber Snipes, who's been telling us that we really need to have you on the show. We've been studying some of the things that you have been teaching. We've been looking at your TED Talks. We've been reading the books that you put out. We've been talking just organically about this kind of ecosystem of businesses getting together and having a better time here. We're still focused on Omaha ourselves, and we're focused on trying to help Omaha do that. So I know that you mentioned earlier that later on we can talk about what you think we might need. I would love to get to that in the second hour. And if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. Brother Gines, we'll look at the chat for you. You can kind of get caught up in the chat, so we kind of suggest, don't pay too much attention to it. We'll pull some stuff out for you. Otherwise, we've let it happen where people start going at each other. But I think you're going to get some good feedback here. We got Kimber Snipes in the chat, and she's like I said, a champion of you. She said the city will definitely have you questioning yourself. I really like that. Also, Pops in the chat says, it's like Jesus said, prophet is not unhonored except in his own hometown. It's always been that way. So people are feeling that. Brother McGaw in the chat, good morning, says, I know all about the grind. Thanks for sharing, Brother Grimes. Okay, that's what's up. Also, RG says, back when Dell was still on Facebook, he once called Obama the Crucible.
I know who that is, and the reason I'm not on Facebook, people may ask, is not because I intentionally got off. They perma banned me from Facebook.
Wow.
I have no idea. I think it's because I downloaded a third party app to pull all of my Instagram posts off because I was shutting it down, and then I got caught in that whole AI thing. But and that's the thing I miss most, honestly, is because my whole community was there. My like folks going back to elementary school, folks, like in this chat, other people that I was on a place called Rap Network back in the 2000s, Black Planet. People followed me from late 90s all the way through and kept relationships virtually through that. And that was a really tough blow for me. I'm not even gonna lie.
Just you still don't know why they did it. They just
Still don't know why, and they don't tell you. And they don't have to. And that's the biggest challenge when I was researching.
Wow.
But yeah, so like if
shout out to Black Planet, by the way. The old heads got to give a shout out to Black Planet, by the way. That was back in the day.
That was the start. That was the start of a lot of that stuff. But Omaha now, I think, is in such, like Black Omaha specifically now, is in a unique position that I think there's a tremendous opportunity to actually drive scalable, transformative change for not just Black people, but the geographic area as a whole. Because people, like I did a presentation at Big Mama's a couple of years ago called Gentrification and Outmigration in North Omaha. North Omaha lost 20% of its Black population over a 2-decade period of time. People say that gentrification. No, gentrification is replacement. Outmigration is usually a precursor to gentrification. Basically, if you think cleaning out something before you put something else in,
right?
It doesn't necessarily have to be that, but we got a lot of brothers and sisters now that are Latino, Asian, lower income white people in the community, and that's why it troubles me when we directly associate North Omaha as Black, because a lot of the outmigration has went west. Some of it was due to the housing demolitions of the public housing and scattered site housing. Others was simple migration. But one of the things that I showed, and I don't know if the data still holds, was that there would be a net negative loss of the what we would classify as ADOs, African descendants of slaves in Omaha, if it wasn't for the in-migration of our African brothers and sisters. Because the census calculates them within the same framework.
Wow.
And so Black people are leaving not just North Omaha, but we're leaving the city as a whole. So, and I would argue that a lot of that is economically driven and opportunity, because people don't just pick up and leave their home, if they think that their home is going to give them what they need. And this is the same in rural communities, right? So now if you look at where we're positioned, under Mayor Ewing, we have somebody that says intentional economic development, right, in a way that has never been said before, but that has to be executed. We have Gary, who runs the Inland Port Authority, Trey, who runs Omaha 100, Vita and Preston down at the North Omaha Visitor Center. We still have Mike Maroney at the tail end of his career at OEDC. Those are just the three that just come to mind off the top. We got Ashley in the legislature, Terrell in the legislature as a legislator. We have Bridget now is leading the first Department of Economic Development that the city has ever had. Me and Bridget go way back to when I worked at Wells Fargo. So I'm on that task force with her. And she was one of the few people who could actually get me to do that because of our relationship. And so Malcolm X Foundation, $20 million build. Demita reached out to me actually last time I was down at the Visitor Center. She connected with me. She said, "Hey Dell, let's chat about the $15 million build we're working on with the Great Plains Black History Museum." So we had INSORG, the CARES Act money that was distributed out to the community. So we're at a point in time right now where you have this combination of organization that is not necessarily Black specific, with Black leadership that has a desire to impact economic change within this sector of the city, but not just this sector, but is responsible for much more than just, North Omaha. And we literally never, ever had that. Like when I was coming up, it was me whistling the wind. We had we had a lot of microfinance organizations, that at the time we've actually fallen back from that kind of energy, but we didn't have like institutional authority, power, funding, Black led at the scale that we have right now. It's never happened.
You know
So,
what? Go ahead.
I wanted to get into the method and what we've been talking about the resources throughout the season. We see the resources, but want to talk about what to do with them. Again, how can we build this ecosystem that we've been echoing and talking about and bigging up throughout the season? But again, you are well equipped and qualified to explain what that ecosystem looks like and how to build it. Again, you worked at the highest level of economic development. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Paul.
Also, before you start, I just wanted to jump in because some of we've been talking to Empowerment Network, Trey at One Omaha. We've been talking to a lot of the people that you just named, and we also for this whole season have been seeing there's so many millions of dollars coming into North Omaha, especially. And we're seeing the same thing you are. We have this thing that we call lanes of change that we talk about need to all happen at the same time. Communication, which we're in. We got political power, which you're naming too. This cultural placemaking that's going on right now. Economic power. All these things that need to come together. And I feel like we're right on the verge of figuring out how to do that. And if we can be a vehicle to spread that word to a lot of the players so that we can do that, because I feel like we're also in a very precarious situation too right now, which is all these millions coming into, and what Omaha has been doing before might creep into now, and this opportunity might be missed. And I just wanted to reiterate the power of this opportunity and how much we need the playbook. We need the ecosystem this time around for any of these things to work. So this is also actually, I feel like a really great timing that we're having you on to be able to help us navigate that. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate how important this time was right now.
Well, so I didn't even tell people what I do now, even though I'm transitioning out. So I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for the International Economic Development Council, which is the largest professional association for economic developers in the world.
Wow.
So under me is all of our professional development research and our impact work. At one point I was responsible for roughly 75% of the organization's budget before we kind of reorg to put on this. And I say that, y'all know me, I don't big up myself. I mean, I am who I am, but I think people tend to minimize you because even if I don't see myself as as a certain way, people want to. When I got my PhD, I didn't care. I mean, I cared. It was important to me. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't care telling people that I had it. It was more for me, right? But Black people wanted to celebrate that, and so I had to allow them to celebrate that, even though that's not my natural state. I'm like, you see me, you see my work, you see what I do, and you value me for that, not for a title or for fame. But I think in this scenario, people need to know that, because I'm not just some guy who woke up one day and started talking about economic development. Like, I'm literally at this point, even though I'm transitioning out at the end of September, the second in command of the largest professional association of economic developers in the world, from Omaha, Nebraska, more particularly born and raised in North Omaha, which guided the way I saw the world, which pushed me into doing what I do, which now has me here doing this, and I still have that mindset. Right. So people need to see, like, when I joke about being on that wall, I'm one of the people who literally changed how economic development is thought about across the nation in terms of ecosystem building. Like, I'm the one that conceived the economic development, the entrepreneurship led development certification that we now have at IEDC, which is our second certification. And over 1,000 people have went through those courses. I conceived that, co-authored it, and shepherded that thing through back when I was at the Fed till now, sitting here in Omaha, Nebraska, this kid from North Omaha. And so this is literally real time shaping it. I'm the one that created the 4 pillars of artificial intelligence at IEDC that serves as a foundational framework for economic developers across the nation and the world, on how they should think about the emergent trend of artificial intelligence. Like, and because people in Omaha will tend to minimize you if you don't tell them what you've done, versus just going out and saying, having a conversation, and let's be about the work. Oh, and by the way, I'm still the same dude that's worked with Black Men United off 30th and Ames for 10 years and spent 5 years working in Nebraska Correctional Youth Facility, training all those kids on how to think better about the world and move into vocational jobs or other opportunities. Like, that's who I am. Those things exist together. They're not separated and they're not apart, right? But people want to segment you and they want to minimize you if you don't fit their narrative, which has been happening to me literally all my life. Even professionally outside of Omaha, they were like, either you're like Chris Rogers or you're like Ernie Chambers. I'm like, no, I'm just this guy, right? I'm just this guy that loves people, loves my community. I just happen to be blessed with being super smart and have a mindset for strategy and futurism, right? So in Omaha, like right now, it's not about, so the beautiful thing about ecosystem building is it's not about the sum of parts. It's about coordinating those parts to create synergy. And so what we've seen, you can have a lot of resources, but if those resources aren't amplified, combined, we call it link and leverage, like from the strategic doing mindset, the ability to kind of like say, okay, well, what is Trey doing over here? What is Gary doing over here? What is Vita doing over here? And how do those things link together to amplify the impact? Where's the gap that we need to build around these major institutional assets, and how do we bring more people to the table? Like for me coming up, we've lost a lot of Black radicals in Omaha. They passed, Matthew Stelly among others. They just slowly died off. So we don't have that same kind of counter alternative mentality energy that I think is necessary in communities, and you have them in bigger communities. But we still need to figure out how do we not just play to the conservative, and I'm not talking politically, I'm talking to the safe voices. How do we bring them in the conversation? How do we say, Joanna, you're rocking over here with Malcolm X with this? How do we make that connect over here or with this group over here so that everybody's winning at the same time as we build together? And so that's the critical point. And within that, there's what I would call, quote unquote, a leader. There can be people that help navigate or centralize and help coordinate the network so that people are exchanging information, feedback. People know what they're willing to do together. People are bringing people together to have conversation. Like, of all those groups, and this is not a criticism, of all those groups, how many times have they been in the same room together and talked about all of their projects at once and asked a simple question? How do we make these things align? Right. And and the reason that I say it's not a criticism is because it's not how and this is not a Black people thing. Remember, I've been in urban, rural, economic development. It hasn't been how the field has been trained, whether it's the community development or economic development. It's you get your funding, you go out and build. And that's why building the ecosystem movement has been so hard across the nation, is because there's certain relational aspects to it that have to happen. You have to be able to pull people together in a relatively neutral space. You have to be able to build trust. You have to show proof of concepts and wins. Otherwise, people are going to be like, why am I going to take my time and even potentially risk some of my resources in the short run if I don't see the benefit in the long run?
Right.
But I think, man, knowing the people that I know now in the city, which is one of the reasons why I have been getting back and more active, is because I know them all and I know their heart. Now, you can know somebody's heart and people can have good intentions, but that doesn't necessarily make for a good network.
Right.
The network requires, so I did a project when I was at the Fed, a 5-year project, never done that I've ever seen, and definitely never done in the Fed, called Econ Ave. And I went to the zip code in 66101 Northeast KCK, which reminded me a lot of ours. And over 5 years, even though the Fed never resourced me right to scale that the way we wanted, we had people every single month coming together, from people from the projects to people that were in HUD, government offices. We all come together, we organize around different topical projects. Everyone would organically create their own project and work to build it. So small business, housing, workforce, and then general stuff. And the beautiful thing about that was we had, folks that were run, let's say, a United Way or a government office, regional office of HUD, sitting down with people coming from the projects, all at the same table, flat, no hierarchy, just working on a project. So like but those things take work. You got to work on that piece. So a project is a project, right? So, but a project and a project and a project from different organizations, you need something, whether it's organic or intentional, to help create space for these people to come together. And that's where people tend to not like to put money. They don't want to put money into what I would classify as community. Because all the only, I say ecosystem building fundamentally is about community. And if you break down the word community, what does that mean? Commune in unity, right? Commune, engage each other in unity for a common purpose.
Right.
And if you go up to the highest level of ecosystem building, that's what that is. But that requires somebody to put intentional energy into making sure communalism, in that sense, whether it's urban, rural, or whatever, is actually happening on a recurring basis. Somebody's helping to move the network forward until it gets enough trained DNA that it becomes significantly more organic and just the natural state of how people do business in society.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering if strategic communication could be a part of that commune unity that pulls everybody together in the different with the different projects. With the last few minutes that we have with you, could you give us some first steps on you're identifying the problem. What are some of the first steps we can do to pull those things together? A lot of good projects going on. How can we pull it together?
Well, I'm proud of Bridget, at the city. I can't remember her title now, but she's the one over the new economic development department. Because from the jump, she said, entrepreneurship ecosystem building has to be a very intentional thing leading from out the city. And we're going to prioritize that. The mayor has her back on that, along with workforce development, some of the issues there. So the energy is there. I think from a practical first step, and it would depend on, whether that's going to come from a Bridget or some other actor that has institutional or general credibility, is to say, hey, let's just pull these folks together. Who can get everybody in the room? And who can start with a simple conversation? So people don't realize this. I was one of the first people Willie Barney ever talked to about the Empowerment Network. Literally, I was at OSBN. We had a lunch at 24th and Cummings back when it was a black-owned deli. People might not remember that one, JC's Deli back in the day. And he did something that was brilliant. Like, before he ever did anything, he had individual conversations with a wide variety of folks, across it. And then the initial DNA of the Empowerment Network was around Tavis Smiley's 13 Covenants. So it gave identity. So, and he was like, we're going to pull it together and we're going to do two things. We're going to identify and strengthen where people were strong in the covenant areas and organizations that are strong, and then we're going to fill the gaps. Now it has shifted from that model to a more centralized nonprofit model with more focus on, narrow issues, but the original concept still remains the same. Who can develop enough trust? Willie did that by, having these individual conversations, and people having the same model that I used when I was in Kansas City, Kansas, because I'm not from there. I had conversations with 40 people before I ever set foot on the programmatic side, right? And so, long story short, it's like that. The concept of, do we have an institutional trusted actor or individual trusted actor that can pull everybody together and ask that question first? How do we do things better together? How do we link and leverage? And then you allow those organic conversations within that question framework to begin to chart, how you're going to map out the ecosystem and begin to work together. And it can be different in different ways. Like, they may say, well, this makes sense if we do it this way. Or they may say, this makes more sense if we do it this way. But it starts with not defining the objective outside of the fact that we want, better, more empowered, people in North Omaha and Black people across the city. It allows people to have their own voice in the say of how that works, with the operating system being the ecosystem connective tissue between all the actors. And so that's where it started. And it's not that hard, bro. Like, everything starts with a conversation. Everything starts with a conversation.
As we say, conversation. Right. Conversation rules the nation. Strategic communication, and it is interesting that is the identity, that's the area that you identified, because really when you think about what we've been doing, Paul, over the last couple of seasons, especially around the Empowerment Network, it has been about dispelling distrust, and the fact that the reality is, even going back even beyond the Empowerment Network, how the community handled the NSORG situation and some of the infighting that was going on in that situation. Community trust is a big thing. I don't want to gloss over that, and even minimize how important that is, and how much sometimes we lack that trust in each other. But we will get into it later in this show. But we can't necessarily trust the government. So if we can't trust each other, can't trust the
Let
government, who can we
let me
trust?
let me double down on it. So I just finished up some research on rural entrepreneurship ecosystem building for the Ford Family Foundation out of Omaha. One of the biggest factors that came out was trust. Trust and how do you build those relationships, like I just mentioned. And it requires, and trust comes in various forms, right? So there's interpersonal trust, like me and Paul may know each other long enough that I know that I can pick up the phone and ask him for this, right? And that's because we have conversations, we've done things together, I know who he is, etc. There's also institutional or structural trust. So institutional, the reason I was able to do that in KCK so effectively, outside of my natural ability and understanding of these communities, was because I had the Fed and the Federal Reserve. I came in as the Federal Reserve, which was kind of like this neutral actor. And trust me, we all know this. I had people in the room, and people would repeatedly tell me that hated each other, that would never be in the room together if somebody from the community called it, that didn't have the level of credibility. But I walked in there and I could bring them into the same room and at least get nominal conversations. One, because of me and my experience coming from my community, which mirrored theirs, and two, because that brand credibility, right? Like the Federal Reserve. So that's institutional or structural trust in the process. So the system of economic development system of America is built on legal trust, in the sense of you have tort laws. If somebody doesn't pay you, you can sue them. So there's a trust in the system. And then, the institutional trust, even though a lot of that's fragmented now.
I was just getting ready to say that about, I felt like when we talk about trust and the things we've been trying to build this whole time with the community, it's almost like we're trying to build a family trust. But it always set funny with me, because I know white folks do business with each other all the time. They can't stand each other. How do they trust that anything's going on? So you're breaking down, first of all, this institutional trust, which I think is the phrase I've been looking for to describe what I've been thinking this whole time, and then also that legal trust too, which all these things are in place because you can protect yourself even from somebody who you don't personally like. And the point is to do business. We're not going to get everybody in North Omaha to get along, to like each other. We talked about it before, about how North Omaha acts like North Omaha because most people is family. So family beef is different kind of beef than just community beef. But again, there has to be a way that even before we get everybody singing Kumbaya, they can get together and do some business. So concentrating now, you got me turning the corner on concentrating a little bit more on this institutional trust, legal trust, and all these other trusts that we can utilize in order to get together even before we can get along. You know what I'm saying?
Man, actually, I want to jump in right there in this last couple of minutes. I want to round back to what you said earlier about the banks, and the fact that banks don't necessarily work for us, talking about institutional trust and economic development. Yeah, we got to talk about it, because there are, we recently had a conversation with Trey at Omaha 100. We've been talking about the Empowerment Network. There are systems and institutions that we are building, that we control, that work for us and are designed to work for us. So can you kind of speak to, how banks don't work for us, and how can we trust systems that we build that do work for us, or at least are supposed to work for us?
So it's not that banks don't work for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they're designed to maximize their own interest, and often that comes at expense of us. And those are two different things. Like, you need institutions, be it a credit union, a financial institution, CDFI, whatever, bank, to move money, to lend, to transfer, all of those kind of things. You you need that structure. The challenge is that when you take a traditional non-credit union bank in particular. So one of the reasons I was so fed up with North Omaha is because the number one source of our evaluation was fee income. And in my community, what do you think the number one source of fee income was? Overdrafts. And then they made it progressively hard for me to waive an overdraft fee. And then if you look at why Wells Fargo got sued, is because they were floating the biggest check first and not the smallest check, even if the smallest check came through. And so if you had 500 in your account and you wrote a $1 check, a $5 check, and a $1,000 check in that order, which one do you think they ran through first?
$1,000
check. And then that hit $35, and then the other checks. So now you 35 times 3, when if they were to run the first two first, you would have only been 35 times 1. And so they got sued for this. This is true. And so, but normally they look to maximize shareholder value, and some of it is not their fault. So even if this is why I've never even been for Black-owned banks, and we can have that conversation later, is because I've talked to those folks. There was a big run when Killer Mike was trying to push Black-owned banks, and I was sitting in the room because at the Fed we had something that worked with minority banking institutions, and I'm not against them. Don't get me wrong, but if somebody asked me, should we start a Black-owned bank, I would say no. I would say probably start a credit union better than a bank, because credit unions can be community owned. A bank immediately, because remember, I came from the Fed. We are a bank regulator. There are things that it doesn't matter if you're Black, white, or other, that you cannot do because of regulation. It doesn't mean that you don't want to or whatever. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not things that they can do. Like they can lean more towards strategic marketing, other things. They can do certain things, like a Wells Fargo can do things through corporate giving and other functions, but like the traditional box of banking functions, they just can't do it, because it's not because they don't want to, it's because of regulatory burden, right? And so when we look at the banking structure, it's not really designed to fit some of the demands that we have based upon being discriminated against, redlined, blackballed, underinvested in, all of the other things that have happened to Black Americans over the course of history. So now you're trying to take a population that has been intentionally disinvested in and then push them into a system that kind of is designed for maximizing shareholder return and heavily regulated. And there's just a structural mismatch for most of us, not all of us. Those of us that have developed, good business sophistication, personal finance, whatever, yeah, absolutely, it works well. But for a large percentage of us, as we're trying to move the economy, because remember, economic development is different than individual business development. Economic development is moving a collective. It's not about moving an individual. Right. And so when you look at moving a collective, it's a much different conversation, because now you have to think about where the limitations and opportunities exist within the current universe of how those people are living, whether it's some of our Native brothers, or Latino brothers, our Bhutanese and Nepalese brothers now, poor white people, right? Like, if I'm trying to move that group, I have to look at what the opportunities and the barriers are. And more often than not, banking serves as a barrier, not an opportunity for us. And so then how do we solve that problem is the second question.
Those institutions like Omaha 100, which is a CDFI.
Right.
And Trey is brilliant. I work with Trey. Like, the way he's thinking, I think is exactly, from a capital stack standpoint, is exactly how Black communities across the nation should be thinking.
I'm glad you said that. We're going to have him on and talk more and be explaining more about what Omaha 100 does, because as we are learning as we go, we're figuring out so many resources here in North Omaha for us that is here and is for us, and we just don't know about, don't trust, and we're going to try to do the best we can on with our strategic communication plant here, on trying to really make sure that that's understood and more than it is, so we can not miss out on these great opportunities.
And Paul, I know you got to close out, but I want to point out one thing. So you see that right there? Michael Barnes did that for me probably 15 years ago, and you can't see it, but I was working to design a logo for North Omaha, and he put that together for me, and it says North Omaha. It has the star with the N in the middle and the O, and then pride, purpose, and power. So everywhere that I've ever gone, that's been my background. even though I don't live in North now, I live out by off Irvington by Walmart. But that everywhere that I go, every video call, if I don't have a background on, that's what people see.
There you go,
Mm,
buddy.
man.
You walk around with it on you all the time, bro. You
Oh
got
yeah,
it.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
baby.
Now, I'm not
Take
that
it wherever
serious
I
about
go.
it. I'm not that serious about it.
Y'all gonna fool around and make me get a V's up tattoo pretty
Hey,
soon, man.
hey,
Right here.
hey,
Hey man, appreciate you. We obviously are going to have you on several more times. We got a lot more to talk about. Our next season is Teamwork Makes the Dream Work, and we put it right after this whole Follow the Money season because we recognize that we got to talk about what's going on with the money, and then we got to talk about the ecosystems and building together with that. So the topic of conversation that you, especially some of the things that you have written and that you're about and have talked about. You guys can't see this, huh? Let me see if I.
Is it?
Use the mirror. Let's see. There we go.
There you go. There you go.
Read it. Ecosystem Builders Playbook is something I'm digging into now, and I can see that it really does have to do with us figuring out how we can utilize the resources, get together, and not just be concerned with one business, but have an ecosystem of businesses and act in that way together. And we definitely need the direction, and we need some more folks. Before you go, earlier you said we need somebody to get everybody in the room. You think Mary Ewing is somebody who can get everybody in the room for this?
Yeah. Well, at the ecosystem level, from Bridget's standpoint, one of the things that I think we're going to do after we finish this ecosystem assessment, and this is not North or Black folks specific, is do some kind of ecosystem builder convening so that we can kind of see how we can link and leverage. I think there's an opportunity also, with the development leaders that are now leading these institutions in Norco to do it. So maybe we'll be able to work on some of that. But a lot of this stuff is really early stage.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, we would love to be a part of it. So keep us posted. And like I said, we'll have you back several times for 7 more conversations if you are cool with that.
For sure.
Appreciate you,
All
man.
right. Thank you, brother.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Peace.
There you go.
Right.
Man, dynamic brother.
Lots to take in.
Oh yeah, knows what he's talking about. Hopefully y'all learned something as much as we did. What say you, Paul?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate everybody in the chat. I didn't really get to the chat, but I appreciate everybody that was in the chat talking. Tisa Harding says, especially now, mostly others. She says, I'm a part of building health equity lane and empowering the community to be healthy first to be able to do anything else. We started the show with Marlon Harrison saying Happy Wellness Wednesday. We talked a little bit about wellness, so we appreciate that. Love that lane for sure. Appreciate that for sure. Brother Anthony Rogers Wright, we'll get to that other subject later. Brother McGowan in the chat says, let's create a new standard of opportunity, ownership, and economic empowerment for generations to come in Omaha. Man. I feel that. Also, Bobby Brumfield in the chat. Good morning. He said, great to see this. Dell is one of the most underutilized talents in Omaha. Baffling that entrepreneurship conversations and economic development are being had without him at the table.
Hey.
Well, I'm starting to understand that myself a little bit. Yeah. Brother McGaw says, Omaha Center of Excellence idea, a place-based innovation hub that combined talent, institutions, capital, and economic development into a regional growth engine. Think Research Triangle Park in North Carolina.
Yeah, cuz Inland Port Authority, Senator McKinney already has the legislation. The groundwork is already laid for that, not just the Inland Port Authority, but the innovation hubs, the iHubs that, again, Senator McKinney has been talking about. There's RFPs out there right now. I'm not sure what that situation is looking like, but again, requests for proposals for companies, organizations, collabs, people who want to do just that. So you're right on track, cuz. You're right on track. We need that. We need those one-stop shops, innovation hubs where we can all come together and build this ecosystem, man. Let's do it.
Dev, talk to Gary Clark too, man. He's another brilliant brother. I'm finding out with a lot of great ideas with what's going on in the Port Authority for sure. And also Julian Young, who I spoke to recently over at Julian Young and Advisors. Yeah, his advisory group. He's in that Inland Port Authority territory and was also kind of instrumental in what's going on there too. I'm learning. So a few people to talk about these things that are coming. I really love that you're on that track, Brother McGow, for sure. Also, Bobby Brunfield says, agree with Kimmer Snipes. Black Omaha shouldn't have geographic boundaries. Can't now. We've been spread out for quite some time, and it really is. It really is kind of interesting to go back and forth when it comes to territory, areas, but also thinking about the Black community and where everybody is and everybody spread out. It's interesting how it goes back and forth with us trying to figure out how to make pretty much both situations thrive.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily a situation. When I think of North Omaha and the idea of keeping North Omaha Black, it's
Right.
we can't be the only community that doesn't have some kind of, even if we aren't, I definitely don't want us to be stifled and cornered and redlined into a certain area. We should live where we want to live, where we can afford to live, where we see best suited for our children and our families. But I would like to keep North Omaha Black for the perspective of keeping a historical, cultural epicenter. Why should there be a little Bohemia? Why should there be a South Omaha? Why should there be a little Italy? Why should there be all these things that exist in Omaha and we don't have our own area? I don't get
got
that.
no little Africa. We need little Africa.
Right.
Yeah, and we do. We have it. I mean, the 24th Lake Street area is a historical district. There's also a business improvement district that's there that runs, and there's always improvement in the district as well. The Great Plains Black History Museum, you heard, is coming. Is being rebuilt again. Lots of money coming to the area, and it is really kind of because of the culture of Black folks in the history. It being historical district first, to me, set the tone on that. So we do have an area. We do have a place we come back for Native Omaha Days. We do have that. We can live out west. We can live somewhere else, but we can live out of state and still come back for Native Omaha Days. That's the point. So yeah, appreciate it. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah. Just echo.
Pop says, what a dynamic brother. Thank you for your visit. Most enlightening. I hope he will be back soon. Yeah, we definitely have more to talk about with him for sure.
Indeed.
RG says, man, all you got to do is point that dude in a direction and he'll take it from there. That's what's up. Yeah.
Hey, brother got a lot to say, but let's listen. Sometimes you got to listen and learn.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and take a quick break and jump into the rest of the show. We got more to talk about here to finish up the last 20 minutes of today. Appreciate everybody who came in with their comments, questions, and respect for the guest. As you can, this is his first visit. We tend to be real quiet on the first visit so we can kind of hear where people are coming from, let them introduce themselves thoroughly. And the next time you come back in, we can start digging heavily into the topics. Kind of what I'm feeling like too. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll be right back again. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
My
name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God. Stay tuned, y'all. Be right back. Stay tuned, y'all. We'll be right back. Black.
One move, we move. Just like that. Just like one move, we move. Just like that.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God. Appreciate y'all coming through. Man, Sunday, you might see me down there at Oto Hi-Fi Lounge, just going down. Prince, celebrating Prince. It's a good time to do that. I don't like doing it around April when he died. I like doing it when he was around the time he was born.
Yeah.
7th of June. That's right. It's also my dude's day. Double digits. He's coming up.
Hey, the dude.
Double digits for the dude on the 7th. That's a trip. Speaking of birthdays, mine is tomorrow.
Hey.
So, yeah. You know what I'm doing for it? Working.
Yeah.
Trying to pay that rent.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
My back.
My neck and my back. Appreciate everybody that's sticking around here for the second part of this show, the second hour. You guys have come in there, man. Shout out to Assembly of the Saints for doing the summer camp. This is starting. This started yesterday, June 2nd. It's
Yeah,
going
man.
to the 30th, and I don't know if there's more room for registration, but you can try it. You can go to aoscamp.upsavvysolutions.com, or you can just go to their Facebook page. Check in with them. Check in with Pastor Ballard. See about what's happening there with the summer camp. Did you ever check into that, buddy? You guys getting down on the summer camp?
Man, not yet. Not yet. There's been so much going on. Need to still type in. Hopefully there's still room. Hopefully. Because I definitely love to get my littles involved with that.
There you go. Get your littles involved. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So there you go. There's again lots of stuff going on that we are going to continue to talk about here. We'll jump back in it. Just want to make sure everybody's here. Sean McCarthy says, happy early birthday, Paul. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, talk to more.
Marlon says we're tuning up for your birthday on Friday. Turning up. Yeah, man. You know, turning up for me means 2 beers and home by 9 o'clock these days. I'm old, so yeah. If that's what you mean, then yeah. We gonna party like it's 1999. Yeah, man. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll see y'all. See you on the 5th. Yeah, it's going down. Yeah, we'll see what's happening, man. I don't know what's going on yet, but we'll see. Lots happening. When Buddy's in town, we're running 24/7, making sure we catch up on all business things that have to be done to make sure that we got it going and have all the meetings we need to have and so on. So, and then also, man, we're coming up on that break, so stay tuned for the Chad Chalmers kickback that we got coming as well. I think we're gonna make it a jam session too. So we're still working on a place for that, place and time. So we'll let you know on that. But yeah, it's cookout time, man, this summer. So we got things to get together on for real.
That's what I'm on.
For real. RG said BZ said he wants taco turnip for birthday. Taco turnip is every day for me, bro.
Hey. Yeah. Don't need no celebration.
Don't need no celebration for that. But anyway, we definitely got to get into a few more things. So let's go ahead and jump in before we run out of time. Buddy, what's next on the agenda?
Yeah, man, I do want to dive into what Mayor Ewing has going on. I appreciate you asking that question earlier when we were speaking to Brother Dell Gines about who could possibly pull the people together, who could be that trusted voice to make things happen. And again, you're asking if Brother Ewing, Mayor Ewing, put some respect on his name, would be that. And I don't know. We'll definitely see. But I will say that, I've grown to trust him. If you remember, we spoke to him a year ago when we had that sit down in his office. It's been about a year, bro.
Oh man,
yeah, man. Time. But over that year, I will say that Mayor Ewing has pretty much done everything that he said he was planning on doing when we had that sit down, especially a heavy emphasis on youth during that conversation, wanting to inspire the youth, wanting to build into the youth, understanding that when we talk about economic development, talking about building up the future, that's for the youth. The youth are definitely a part of that. And this latest move is going right in that direction, not just empowering the youth, but also looking at it as a way to combat exactly what we're talking about, this brain drain. Again, Brother Dell Gines reminding us that, a large percentage, too big of a percentage of our talent, especially so-called Black and minority talent, leaving the city because of lack of opportunities and lack of just being seen. And again, hopefully this new youth council will combat some of that as Omaha Mayor Ewing again announced plans to revamp the youth council as the city works to address ongoing brain drain concerns, again, by engaging young residents and local government. Again, the program works with every high school in the city who will be represented in the group, which begins actually meeting in August. According to the article reported by KMTV, students will meet once a month with local leaders. The program runs through next May and ends with a final presentation from youth council members. One of the members, actually a junior in Omaha Northwest, Tamaya Wright, again, is one of the students selected for this council. And she says the opportunity gives a voice to those underrepresented in her community, saying that I can make a change greater than just myself and my school, but my community, statewide and nationwide. So again, just going back to what Brother Dell Gines said, when he was that age, nobody told him that he can own anything. Nobody told him what he was actually capable and powerful enough to do. But yet here we are having these young folk knowing early. So big shout out to Mayor Ewing doing what he said he was going to do, just in that. We see Sister Raquel Henderson, also the Jobinista, as we call her, in there. And these young folk getting down, man. Shout out to the young folk. As I understand, they were selected for these opportunities. And yeah, looking forward to seeing seeing, what comes out of this, what leaders come from this as we move forward.
Yeah, man. Whole rainbow coalition in there. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Again, for everybody. That's what we want. That's what we want. Just, don't leave us out. That's the only thing. But speaking of leaving us out, I did want to end with this conversation about, building ecosystems and this bottom up, small business entrepreneur ecosystem mindset that is necessary because of what we're seeing at the top level, because what we're seeing, the political will and the direction that is being sent, and while we should celebrate moves like what Brother Mayor Ewing is doing, because to be honest, he can be a lot more like Pillin, which again is a whole nother thing in itself. We'll actually, talk about this more as we continue. But in this last 10 minutes or so, setting up for future conversations, Brother Anthony Rogers right earlier asking about the AI situation. And again, as Brother Dell Gines said, it's not all this stuff. It doesn't have to be this hard. We need institutional trust. We need people who are willing to come together, listen, and do the things. And this is the complete opposite. Again, we've been talking about how communities have been vocal, very vocal about how they don't want data centers. Again, shout out to, I believe, Otoe County, Nebraska, who again, was reported by Flatwater Free Press and pushing forward in that county level to combat data centers. But yet here we have Pillin paving the way in a ceremonial signing of LB 1261 just earlier this week. Yeah, we gotta talk about it, man. We gotta talk about it. If you don't know, Pillin recently signed into law a bill that will allow private energy to be built by these data centers. Again, LB 1261 alters the authority of public power districts to allow private companies to build energy infrastructure like a power plant without the risk of having a public power board take them over using the tool of eminent domain. So again, this is coming from LB 1261. Which was prioritized by Senator Mike Moser of Columbus, Nebraska. And he says he felt pressure to get the bill right because there are, quote unquote, fantastic amounts of money involved in building new power plants.
Fantastic amounts.
It's fantastic amounts of money. We were not going to talk about the environmental implications, the economic implications, what it means to our power bills, which is actually acknowledged in this article, which is quite interesting. They're willing to take these risks for these fantastic amounts of money for these private endeavors. Again, one of the major companies, actually an Omaha-based private power company, Tenaska, is a part of this whole plan. Apparently, Tenaska was named a top 50 company by Forbes magazine and has the necessary infrastructure and equipment, according to this article, to meet the demand of the electricity for some of these data centers. However, the risk that all of us have to apparently just be okay with is letting public power districts manage the infrastructure. If the market shifts or plans change, the cost, of course, could blow back to ratepayers, which means you and I footing the bill for these data centers. It is quite interesting. According to this article, Pillin did say that he is calling for basically trying to make a separation between AI and data centers, saying that he is not high on the idea of more data centers being built, but at the same time wants to increase the growth and see the growth of AI, which I don't see how you can separate the two, but here we are, it's Pillin. He argues that AI is a key component actually to national security and nuclear defense. The same thing that we've been talking about. It's not about your ability to make PowerPoints. It's not about your ability to formulate pictures with you standing next to Chris Brown and Denzel Washington. It's about war and surveillance. That's what this is about. He said foreign adversaries like Iran and China are making massive amounts of electricity with coal, which he believes is being used to develop AI, which again kind of gives you a glimpse into why North Omaha is having the issue it is having with its coal plant, because they don't care about your poison. They don't care about your asthma. They don't care about your power bill. They care about national security and war. And here we are. LB 1261. Look into it.
Yep. Anthony Rogers right in the chat. He says Democrats aren't listening to the people on data centers either. The McKinney-Spivey town hall will feature the MDP chairwoman, talking about Jane Cleave, who is pro data centers. We've been talking to a lot of politicians that seem to be either pro data center or pro or saying they're coming. Let's figure out something to do with them. Nobody's really putting any effort into fighting them. Anthony Rogers Rice says public power in Nebraska is dead. OPPD now stands for ostensible public power district. I was wondering about what in the world, how in the world can this exist with a public power system and then having all these private power entities coming in? Doesn't make any sense. He says none of the current OPPD board members or candidates for OPPD are anti-data centers, and North O better wake up and see the Eric Williams is selling us out in big tech. He says, laugh out loud, the People's Republic of China leads the world in renewable energy development.
That's what I was thinking about. You know, like, you remember China had that smog issue? Do you remember when the Olympics came out to China and there was so much smog? They have been leading in renewable energy to combat that and have done a damn good job at getting rid of the smog and cleaning up their air using renewable energy. So to hear Pillin say they're doing this with coal and they're like, it's crazy, man. It really is crazy how kind of hypocritical these people are, how nonsensical some of this stuff is. Like marijuana is going to kill the kids. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and we didn't get into it, but the thing he just said about
that's where I was going.
Born to kill. Wow. I don't know if you guys have read this ACLU news report. It's in Friends of First Sky Omaha, but some of the things that the whole reason for the thing in the first place was crazy. The way that he wants us schools now to be reporting on anti-Semitic and anti-Semitic behavior. In this same speech that he gave here, he said this given national attention. This Palestinian is born to kill. Highly suggest you take a look at it. But what was your thoughts when you read that ACLU report?
I mean, we talked about it on Monday. Again, this bill, the try to, this culture war that we talked about on Monday, and this culture war is making its way into our, not just our political system, but of course our education system, but just the hypocrisy of it. That's the sheer thought. And I didn't quite catch this when we talked about it on Monday, this comment. So I'm glad that you're bringing this back up. But that just shows, how much of a joke some of this stuff is. Like, how can you use, discriminatory and bigoted language at the same time to justify a bill that's supposed to protect the same thing? Like, if you took what he said exactly and just replace Israel with Palestinians, then he's breaking the very law that he's pushing.
And just to be clear, we said earlier the statement marijuana can kill your kids. That was rickets. So we've just had a long line of governors saying some way out stuff. 6 to dismiss is happening. We're talking. We're in the follow the money season, but we also have a vote in November where we could do something about Pillin. So highly suggest start thinking about what you're gonna do and get ready. I don't want to spend the last 3 minutes of the show thinking about how ridiculous that situation is. This cat here, man. 10-2 Pat in the chat said slaver progeny making their ancestors proud. Man.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Rogers right. We also have to talk about who has been silent about what Pillin said. Lynn Waltz, Denise Powell, the Nebraska Democrats, and we have to ask why they are being silent. APAC, DMF, blood money. Things to consider. Lynn Waltz is the one that's running against Pillin. And who would you rather have? RG says that's the paternalism Beasley likes to talk about. That paternalism, man, do as I say, not as I do, for real.
Man.
Pop says I was in China and the air quality now is very good in most areas, and the place is cleaner than Disneyland. And if y'all know anything about Disneyland don't got a cigarette butt or a peanut shell on the ground, bro. Man. Disneyland is clean. He says they're doing some things very right.
Yeah. I mean, so much so that you see, I don't know if you've been hearing or paying attention to what's going on in the electric vehicle industry, but they're killing the game. Killing the game.
Well, they're beating everybody all over the world. We just can't get our hands on them over here. Brother McGoss, if you study the Ukraine-Russian war, you see the future of modern warfare, which is technology first war strategy.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
data centers. We've been talking about it. We've been talking about Anthropic, how they're trying to get their hands on it in order for that AI to be able to. And they've already used AI to target people. And how do they know who those people are? Well, they got tons of data on you, and they need more data centers to work the AI for all those reasons. I mean, again, we talk about what we personally need to do or not do when it comes to AI, but the thing is, the reason why a lot of people are pushing the ideas of these data centers away. There's a lot of fights going on right now, and it really does have to do with that point of what is this stuff really being used for? War.
That's it.
And surveillance for war.
That's the majority of it.
Right. So we're at 9:00 right now, and like I said, I wanted us to kind of round back around to what can we do about it, but we really don't have time. We'll talk about it Friday. In the meantime, between time, like, keep your mental health. We'll be talking about mental health with Johnny No Good on Friday, and just kind of think about those things in the next couple of days. This is stuff that can really, really do damage to you when you let it go too far. You got to have some balance, and make sure you meditate, play some music, do something to make sure that you can keep some kind of balance. Think about ultimately what all is going to handle all this. When you know what I'm saying, like. Whatever it is that you feel and believe, some of us feel like only God's gonna fix any of this, and we can do the best we can until that day comes. But whatever you got to do to make sure that your head stays straight and you stay alive and be there in person for your people, do your best.
I'm actually not feeling doom and gloom. Like the reason we've been talking about what we can do all episode. We've been talking about really what we should be doing all episode. Just wanted to round off to what Pillin is doing, and I use the word political will for that reason, because we see what the elected officials are using their political will to do, and it's not to help us. But that can't be the only will that we think about. That can't be the only will that we worry about. What are we willing to do? Is the question. What are we willing to do? And if we focus on what we are willing to do, then we will do what we can do, and what they're willing to do won't matter. That's my takeaway for today. Again, I keep saying it, man. We all we got, but it's enough. It's enough. It's enough. It's actually more than enough. The more I look into it and the more I learn about it, as you always say, man, we're not out organized, or we're not outnumbered. We're just out organized.
Word.
Divide and conquer, the devil's technology. That's it's. Hey, yeah, that's another one. But that technology, it is what it is for a reason. How do you outperform somebody that's better equipped than you? Divide and conquer. Those little itty bitty small guy tactics that they use. We got to overcome it. We all we got, but it's technology. That technology, man. If you don't know, hey, better ask somebody. Again, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Catch the same time, same place. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B.
In the morning.
Hey. Again, hopefully we cause more clarity than confusion. Big shout out to brother Dell Gines, man. Learned a lot from that brother. And we'll definitely continue to talk to him, continue to study what it is that he's putting down. Put that book up again. Y'all check out the playbook, man. We ain't got to reinvent the wheel. We got the playbook. Let's just run the plays.
Man.
We in the field. We got the playbook. We can win the game if we run the plays. Go out to the visitor center, get you a copy today. And let's keep on keeping on. Paul B, take it away, man.
We'll have to order it. I think they all sold out the visitor center. But come down to the visitor center anyway. It is the black wall, the black city hall right now, for real.
Man.
Matter of fact, we were sitting there thinking, well, how do we get a hold of Dell Gines? And I looked in the other room. He was sitting in there.
Look at God.
Here. Yeah, it all comes together. So I appreciate you. Stay tuned. We have our man Johnny No Good that's going to join us on Friday. Man, we're going to talk a lot about Beyond the Stigma, the work that he's doing. Him as a poet and artist. It's a beloved Supreme Friday. Is the reason why we wanted to have him on, because he's somebody who is a dude after our own heart. He's an artist and an MC who is strong in the community scene and trying to do something for his community trying to do something for the men, and at the same time do something for himself, keeping the head straight, and making sure that we stay on track. So appreciate him, appreciate you guys. Let him spread the word. Let everybody know Johnny No Good is on. We're gonna try to get him to do a poem while he's on too. That'd be dope. Never did that on the show before. It just hit me right now. Because shout out to Michelle Moreno's that party that she threw for her young man there. I was like, what? He gonna look back on that and be like, man, Chad Stoner played. Johnny No Good did a poem.
Come on,
good times. Him and Marlon went for a ride. Anyway, appreciate you guys coming on through, man. Pop says, man, what a phenomenal show. Thank you guys. Keep it coming. See you Friday. Right on. RG says, buddy almost sounded like he was talking about practice. Shout out to the original.
Oh, not the game. Not the game. Talking about practice.
Run the plays. Just run the plays. Spend all season putting the plays together. Run the plays.
Hey, not the game.
There it is, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Shout out to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before you. Shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Thank you for all your comments, your questions, your additions to the show, your respect for the guests. Really appreciate that very much. So do us a favor, share the show. You can share the show even when we're not live. If you're on Facebook, just share it on your page. If you're on YouTube, you can take that link and share it on your social medias as well, so that people can check it out if you miss any parts of that conversation, or if you just need to go back and listen to that conversation some more, because there was a lot of jewels and nuggets in there. I know I'm going back to listen again. Message. Go ahead and check it out over there at YouTube. And when you go over there, like and subscribe. We really need you to do that. That's also a message. Like and subscribe. Please do that. We'll see you on Friday. Black Johnny Quest. I forgot about it.
Shout out to Black Johnny
Quest. He's doing these days too. Johnny No Good is who we're going to talk to on Friday. Nice day today. It's going to be raining Thursday and Friday, so get that last little bit of touch the grass in the day on that 80-degree weather if you can, because it's going to be a wet one the rest of the week. So in the meantime, between time, take care of yourselves. Maybe we'll see you outside. Peace, y'all.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red